Can we get a catch?
Wait a minute.
Hey,
wait a minute.
ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, bulls or bears, welcome
Wait a minute.
to a Nerd Out Friday volume profile special with Professor Mandalo.
Shout outs to everybody making this possible on the fly. Goodness gracious. That was a stressful 52 minutes. Thank you for sticking around. Shout outs to all of you lions. You're amazing. This is the best community in crypto. Dare I say the best community on Twitch and YouTube now. All right, so let's dive into it. Volume profiles, and we are going to look at all your questions. If I have a senior moment, because you can tell that I'm pretty old, just remind me about your questions and we will.
Mandalo.
A little bit about volume profiles. We're looking at a type of volume profile. There's lots of types and each has their own kind of unique benefits. What we have on the screen here is a visible range volume profile, and that displays it's a vertical histogram display of volume. And that's really the thing about all volume profiles. They display volume at price levels rather than at volume bars like we normally see at the bottom of a page. A visible range, some tools, you have to have like the paid services or whatever to see them, but there's always ways around this. And there's little tricks when you just kind of experiment around and look around. But for now, we're just going to look at this one to get a couple of the major features of a profile in play, and then we will look at a few other varieties. So visible range volume profile displays on the right, and when you move the screen, it kind of will adjust. So if you zoom in or price action unfolds, you'll see it change a little bit, because visible range is calculating the volume for what is in the screen. So even if it goes a little bit off of the screen, just from this time point until current, it's going to show or display the volume. And a few of the levels or areas that we look at, for one, there are areas that have more volume and there's areas that have less volume. Okay, and this is not the perfect view of it. I would actually rather zoom in to give a more clear view of the differences. But the areas of larger volume, these are called high volume nodes. And the areas that there is less volume, kind of like valleys in the profile, those are low volume nodes. And really you can kind of go from here to here maybe. But this is a primary high volume node, this is maybe a secondary, and that's just what's in the range right now. It's not always going to have these valleys, but sometimes at the top or at the bottom you're going to have lower volume nodes, and that's kind of like in TPO where you have tails. Okay, so you would think that the high volume node is kind of like the value area. Can I look at ETH? Yeah, I'll jump over there in just a second. I'll switch over to ETH in a minute. The value area doesn't necessarily mean that it's the only place that you have a high volume node. It's 70% of the volume that has transacted in the daily session, kind of centered loosely around where the point of control is. Point of control is the highest volume level of the session or of the range that we're calculating. Value area 70%, value area high, and value area low. And price behaves very differently depending on whether we are within value area or not. High volume nodes, more volume. Low volume nodes, less volume. You wanted to see ETH. I mean, you know what happened, right? Man, we're not doing Fibonacci right now. I'll throw some Fibonacci in. Oh my gosh, that's atrocious. Well, look, you got the daily session volume profile back inside value area. Let's look at this from a volume profile perspective. So, I mean, everywhere we had a huge move today. And let's look at the daily profile. So from the open, it begins calculating and it resets from the previous day. I mean, if you want to just like keep it simple, it just swept the all-time high. It's going to have possibly potential to get sold. At least retrace a little bit. Now, where are we going to hold up here is a better question. And even if you aren't considering some of the other Confluence, maybe we'll just look at the buyback. YouTube doesn't have audio? Oh no. How about at the highs? So what I just did was pull a fixed range volume profile, and I'm looking at different points to calculate value areas. The value area, again, is a good reference point, as is the point of control. That doesn't mean that that is the place to pull it. But the reason that I chose this candle at first was that was kind of the initial sell-off and buyback from that little move. Okay, if you looked at open interest, you probably have some things to support that notion. Buyback, so some people sold and late positions are buying for continuation. Maybe some people shaved a little bit and added to their position above support. Yeah, and that's temporary support, but in the 5-minute candles, and we're just looking at from a volume profile perspective. I know it's tiny, but it's how you use it. So it came back, tapped that consolidation value area, and bounced. That doesn't mean it's going to happen every time, but that's one way that you can play even like low time frame ranges to have a little bit of extra confluence. What other confluence could you use? You could use Fibonacci. And that wasn't my goal today, but even if you just, I mean, this is ETH, so it loves the 886. Doesn't it? YouTube has audio? Which one? Who's trading ETH and isn't used to the 886? You get a good example with a B or D or P formation on the profile. Yeah, we have a couple of them actually. So you like the profile shapes. It's interesting the similarities between volume profile and TPO, isn't it? Well, it being a vertical representation of two of the three most important elements in auction market theory doesn't hurt. And it doesn't hurt that volume profile was derived from market profile originally. The market profile charts having TPO and volume profile in their standard form. Heat maps! Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can. But let's see what we can do with volume profiles first. Shoutouts to you. Apple's 2324, I love it. So with ETH, and you're looking at the shapes of the profile. So that would, this is kind of a unique day, but the D-shaped profile I really don't like these settings that I have on here. I think I have Delta on. Yep. Looks a little bit better. There's your D shape. Housty, where are you on that? Hit him with, come on. This one's absurd, but it's demonstrative of a trend day. That's kind of a B. That's kind of a B. That's a better one. And there's a P. So a B and a P. So for our profile shapes, let's see what actually causes them to form. There's your little B, and here's your P, kind of. Now I gotta figure out how to get candles off of here. So delta is the amount, is the net between buys and sells, and this is just up and down volume. So the total volume. But we were looking at this one being a B. Well, you have long or longer tails at tops or bottoms of a profile. If price didn't spend that much time there or transact that much volume in that area during the session. Actually looks like the price kind of did spend more time down here in this session, but it was more volume in the middle, and definitely as price came up. Yeah, it's pretty interesting for the chop that it was so rapid. how that profile ended up forming. But a B is a consolidation. You have consolidations. You have more volume usually forming when the price consolidates. That's maybe kind of a P. You have like an early push. Starting to form a bit of a trend day. And if you were to watch this day unfold, so like from the open, here we go. Let's do it from scratch. From the open, you want to mark the previous day levels. Previous day value area high, previous day value area low. Okay, this kind of reference points. We haven't established any price action in the day yet. And previous day point of control. And that was pretty high up in the value area. So that's kind of a clue of where the market was heading. But let's see this session unfold and if it respects the prior day value area or not, and how it responds to the point of control. And you see, like early in the session, we haven't had much price history transact yet. And early in the session, that's kind of the best time to refer to those previous day levels, as is a great time to kind of use the initial balance a little bit more. So initial balance is the first hour of trading activity. Kind of look at it as like boundaries for how price might respond. So let's say that that's your initial balance. Just moved outside of value area. Previous day value area. And what did it do right here as it moved outside of it? So it broke and closed outside. Let's see what time for, that was a 4-hour candle. That was a 4-hour candle right there. That it closed out a previous day value area. Initial balance. So we haven't formed much volume history yet. You're seeing the profile expand as the day goes on. But at that point in time, right here, you have way less to refer to. You have the previous day levels, you have this small profile, we haven't had much volume transact. Volume is down a lot of times off of the open anyways. So, especially for crypto, the initial balance can be helpful, but also, in RTH, it can be pretty nice levels for you. Anyways, we moved out of the initial balance, turned it into support, and kept on moving. You get the point of control really, really pushed up against the previous day value area high and turned the current point of control in the developing session into support. So you get a little bit of expansion. Now we moved outside of value area. And when was the last time that we were even here? It's been a minute. Choya. Oh, this is when we first came up here. So we're just expanding. As price is moving up, you have some volume accumulating on this little cell right there, but it held outside the value area and continues moving. So there's like a little node forming here, but overall, this fast move, very little volume, and that's not very much support. That doesn't mean that it will come back through. It has some similarities with single prints based on the speed and based on the kind of profile itself. And like single prints, when price comes back, it can move through quickly, or it can be defended, even just like Wigton, and it's called responsive action if it were to do so. How long can the initial balance? First hour, usually, is the kind of like market profile definition. Like to enter in volume holes, yeah. It depends. I mean, some of these are when people pull orders. But yeah, that's you want a fast response in these areas, one way or another. But you don't want to step in front of the train just counting on it to fail. So we had value area down here, and when price moved up, not only did the value area move up, the point of control did as well. It kind of migrated up. And we established a new value for the range outside of the previous value. And our profile is developing. We have more volume history occurring up here. And overall, that will kind of set the tone for maybe more. Oh, that was the end. So just a question, did it close inside or outside previous day value area? Notice that most of the time for the daily profiles, whenever New York opens, they rotate to the other side. It's common. I mean, this is ETH though, so it's going to follow Bitcoin. I want to finish with this ETH look so we can get back to current and get back over to Bitcoin. I really don't want to chart ETH too much. So it closed inside value. But why I'm asking that is sometimes we have some strategies that hinge upon whether the price closed inside or outside the previous day value, or closed inside or outside value area. Yep, if it closes outside, you're looking for certain things, either continuation of the move outside or retracement back inside. If it closes back inside, it can be a pretty high probability play. Yeah, for BTC. Okay, let's get back over to BTC. I don't want to look at ETH anymore. Sorry, guys. Let's just see where it is. Okay, it's still doing its thing. It's a Friday night. Shoutouts to all of you here on a Friday night. Hopefully you juiced up this week. Thank you again to KIMBA, Juiciest, Cage, all the mods and admins. Thanks to all the donos and to all the OGs. All you grinders that are here on a Friday night. It's amazing. All the giveaways this week, that was incredible. Get on the dashboard, get on the YouTube and watch the the highlights. Yeah, Yeah, CCV, yeah, it's a derivation of a market profile concept called the 80% setup. Not necessarily working 80% of the time, but it is a very high probability play. It depends on the asset that you're looking at and kind of the market conditions. Yeah, absolutely. Stoked to do it. Super, super exciting to be a part of the team, part of this amazing community. Yes, sir. I got you. Much love to all of you. Ace hit him with the goose. Big cheers. Big cheers to all of you. Yep. Shoutouts to Tubit. Shoutouts to BTCC. Let's go. Amazing week. Amazing subathon. And if I'm not mistaken, it looks like there's like nearly 100 hours left on. I can't believe it. You guys are just something incredible. Best place in crypto. Oh, I don't want to be on this one. I want to be on this one. Sorry. Yeah, so we got value areas. Let's look at this in higher time frame. And then I'll go into fixed ranges. Should even look at it at weekly. This is pretty nice. All right. We'll go monthly candles and visible range. Okay, this is periodic volume profile for the monthly and visible range volume profile over here. So first we're gonna look at visible range volume profile from the bottom, wherever you have on the screen, it'll calculate. So notice how there's kind of a difference in volume at the lows from at the highs, even though it's not really that different in the amount of time that was spent. Toadot, shout outs. Oh, there's going to be plenty more. Not missing this. Oh, shout outs to you. Much love. Much love to all of you. So a lot of volume transacted down at the lows. I mean, it's not that a good place to buy when you're at the lows. I think a lot of people were doing that. And then every consolidation, it looks like there was quite a bit of volume transacted. Let's get this old price history out of here. About like, yeah, like here. So in that 70K range, you know, how long did it spend? Like six, 7 months? That was a lot of volume. And if you were to look at it with a fixed range volume profile, and that's just a tool in TradingView that you can pull. Whoops. Let's look at it from a range perspective. From a range perspective, when you arrive, that's where I like to kind of anchor my first candle on fixed ranges. And look how price respected those ranges, or, you know, how it kind of adapted to the price action that developed through it, especially as we get further along in the history when it's actually current for the calculation. Because you can look in the profile and you're like, oh wow, it was like bouncing over it rejected from the point of control right here, but this is calculated all the way to here, so that wasn't really the point of control at that point in time. It rejected from value area low and lost it. What do you guys think so far? I was like, is that helpful? So how about like when we started coming back towards the high, and forget about the news or the market sentiment at that point in time. Price lost the range, came back inside and made a higher high. You just market structure 101. Higher high. What is the next thing that you might be looking for? Yes, sir. Denial. Shouts to you. Higher low. Juzz. Let's go. Name God. JV. Yep. Looking for a higher low. What's a good place a higher low could form? You kind of want the value area low, and you really want the reaction that we got at the value area if you're bullish. So it wicked outside and still closed back within in a daily candle. That's really nice. When price is within value, and really it could even pertain to volume nodes, but this is a real kind of balanced distribution of the profile. It's just a common thing that happens in ranges. That D shape, or kind of rounded profile, not very thin pockets in the overall structure, but the price has a very high affinity to rotate when price is range bound. But we did a few things in the process, and one of them was making a higher high and perhaps making a higher low. Cleaned some liquidity, wicked out of the value area, closed back within, and back tested it. I know a lot of lines were getting filled here, but this plays out more than you would believe once you begin to look at them. You can back test a lot and you're going to see it all the time. So either reclaims a value area or just holding it. I mean, a close is holding it. You could put Fibonacci on it too. And I'm just doing that for one little part of the example, but the fib that I'm pulling, that was like the 05 of the range pretty much. That are rejected. And you can look at that all the way down to daily profiles. Aside from these levels, there's one other kind of important feature that's not part of the profile, but is watched very closely, and that's equilibrium, the 05. Your settlement was updated. Let's go. So point of control and 05 are some areas that you may look for resistance, or maybe a little bit of consolidation, maybe a reaction or support if you're coming from the other side. But regardless, when you come outside and close back inside or are range bound, it's very common for price to rotate throughout. And if you threw a VWAP in here, from the same point, let's just say we would throw an anchor VWAP from the same place. That's pretty interesting. So broke below VWAP and point of control. You're just throwing Confluence together now. How about this? That's pretty clean. But break VWAP, we're bullish. And we actually turned this level into support before the market really started to run. But when we came up here to the opposite side, so that was a value rotation through the range. From one side of value to the other. If price breaks out, it may expand or it can fall back inside rather quickly. Okay, but there's not a whole lot of volume that have been transacted at that point, and that's all-time highs at, when this was formed way back in last year. So it could fall back inside or it could just continue on, and you know the market was very bullish, so it continued on. Anybody bored or you want to like see something different? That was a fixed range, by the way. How about here? So getting a little bit more current with it. Let's say from the all-time high back in January. Interesting. Oh, look at that anchor VWAP, by the way. That's pretty cool. Let's get that out of here. So this range had a nice consolidation. We're gonna do the same thing that we did before. So we arrived. And up to that point in time, there's your point of control, 96.8. Remember when we were looking back at that area a couple months ago? For the previous range after it lost it? Pretty cool. There's your value area low, value area high. Come back inside, retest, and rotate back down to value area low. And it actually wicked through and held it, which was kind of a threw a lot of people up, but that was a really good day for some people. I know a few people that caught it. So regardless, it was bearish at that point, and the market ultimately consolidated around the point of control for the range. But when it lost that point of control, I mean, really, it's like what we talk about in KIMBA's streams all the time. Shout outs KIMBA. Above VWAP is what? Below VWAP is what? Bullish and bearish. Let's go. Bulls, bulls, bears. We're all lions. Let's go. Ready? Above and below VWAP. Kind of think the same thing about the point of control. And it's really Pretty cool. When you see that point of control and the VWAP in a similar place. So I anchor my VWAP and my fixed range from the same point. And this is high time frame or relatively high time frame in the daily chart. Above Conchoya, no, above Bugatti, below Conchoya. Right? Was with a Z. Let's go. If price creates value above value area high, how do you know it might not be a failed auction? So one way that you can look at that is in a little bit lower time frame candles. But it's got to be like a lot of confluence together. Might not be or might be. We just kind of play probabilities. But if you are making higher highs, your first warning is when you don't make a higher high, and especially in a high time frame candle. So that doesn't mean it's over. It just means that that might not continue. And in that scenario, you have established an invalidation. And if you needed to shave or were looking for a fade, at least you have an invalidation. You have waited for a close. Yeah, we'll say this. Yeah, we'll say this one. Because that was just like, let's look at that one. Because we did get a failed auction there, didn't we? Who's still short from 124.5? Let's go our daily. And I'm going to go, and this is 30-minute candles with the bar deltas. I hope it goes back that far. Cage is ready to do his game show. It's Friday night. I'm gonna go for a few more, but I got a few things I need to show ya. Okay, so Mosley, close outside value, retested value area on the way up, closed way up here. I mean, that was bullish. It's kind of predictable that it would, or it's got a strong probability of continuation when you close that strong. Plus, that high wasn't the greatest into the close. Right here, those two candles. And does it bother people that I have black and white candles? It helps to see the profiles a little bit better to me. I pop, lock, and drop it, toddler. All right, so we're looking at the high when that is unfolding. And that actually got established with relatively little volume compared to the rest of the trend. So you get declining volume. I'm looking at perps. Ugh. Sorry. It still was a little bit less volume, but that was a strong push. So early here, you can see the profile, and I mean, all that hadn't occurred yet. This is a daily session volume profile. So we're just looking at this area. You can kind of simulate it by going like this. So that's your initial balance. It was pretty good range on it. It's not too small. Wider range. That was a nice move. But it came back inside and kind of traded around a little bit. We're having this profile develop as that price action's unfolding. We got daily VWAP, and I'll put regular VWAP on here. We're session. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's because I put deviations on it. That's VWAP right here, the green. Lord. There was something else that I was going to talk to y'all about, but there's our VWAP. So came back under VWAP, which VWAP in the first hour is not really all that juice. We look kind of at previous day VWAP, kind of the same way that we look at previous day levels in volume profile or TPO. Who prefers TPO over volume profiles? And who likes to use both? I know somebody that uses both. I think KIMBA does. Shout out to him. Shout outs to the highlights. Shout outs to the Nerdouts. Shout outs to the mods and admins. What a week. Okay, we got that early VWAP rejection through here, but we could even go for that failed auction view. It's not calculating that far back. Maybe it will if I rewind it. So ran the high, came back down below the previous candle. Up here, and I know it's a little difficult to see it, but I had periodic candles per bar, and it's delta. And this little yellow line that I had in there, that's the point of control. Yep, I like both too. For day trading, Moon Farmer, I feel you. Grimes, what's up? How are you doing? Yeah, for day trading, I mean, it has a lot of value. And a lot of day traders do that. For crypto, using a little bit of both is nice. Let's get that thing out of here. Okay, so through here, you see those points of control. And you could even go down to 5 minutes. I wonder if it's going to still be visible. I'm looking hard, y'all. There's your point of control on the big push up to new all-time high, closing, come back down. You got some buyback, but you got some a cluster of point of controls kind of moving upwards, but move back down. Big push above that previous consolidation of point of controls, move back inside, and where you really have a little bit of concern. In 5 minute candles, you're not like getting all that concerned. But when you start moving below and closing below, these things. And what do you have right here? Even if you're just so that's a low. I mean, other than all-time high and being during like Asia session, like right into Asia session off of the daily open, we know that there's only 2 red buttons in some people's exchanges. I look kind of like Rick from The Walking Dead. Yeah, I feel like I'm The Walking Dead at this point. Big cheers. Low volume clusters. Support and resistance on 4 hour. Yeah. Yeah, they're defended. They can be defended anyway. Yeah, Maxi. Absolutely. I'm not trying to like crowd Cage's time because we're already an hour past his go time, but you're gonna need to know some of this stuff for the game show if you want to up. So we're looking at those point of controls, and they kind of just give you a little bit more to go on than simple Fibonacci. You could throw an anchor VWAP even in low time frame. I mean, like some of you might be using 5-minute candles all the time, but you got anchor VWAP and you have daily VWAP, and we're now trading below it. So you just have 3 pieces of Confluence. And at that point, let's say right here, let's see where the profile is. So developing value area and previous day value area is trying to hold it after that big move. But it lost the point of control for the developing session. And that's not the best sign. We're already, pulling VWAP down a little bit. And you have those points of control keep moving lower. So you got like kind of a little bit of resistance up here already. So you have invalidations though. And you kind of are establishing a bias even if we're not talking about the all-time highs. What did I do? Get so excited and then I just like click on stuff. And I can't go back that far in time. There we go. So that was that session. That's the one. We made a lower low. We close outside value area. Reject from the point of control. I mean, it's failed auctioning right now. We lost structure too, by the way. And I haven't even put a fib on the chart. Do you need every single one of these things? I can't even see anything anymore. How many indicators do y'all need? You see I got 15 over here. I'm not using them all. It's already getting too busy for me. But there's certain times that you use certain things. What shape is this profile right now? What shape was the previous day profile? That's an interesting question. Ugh, I don't even want to call that a shape. So you have thin volume, that's a low volume node, low volume node. High volume node, high volume node. Oh my goodness. The old quadruple distribution day, right? Yeah, the E-shaped profile. I don't even know what they call it the cone-shaped day. This is the new juice. Like if y'all aren't trading cone-shaped profiles, you're hoeing. I wanted to talk about today. Let's talk about today. Or how about where we are right now? It's a troll face profile for sure. All right, we're going to wrap it up with this. There's yesterday. We closed in value. We closed inside value. We closed above previous day point of control. But we closed with some pretty garbage lows. Did we not? We have been holding a lot of pretty garbage lows. But when we opened above the point of control, came back and tested it, and moved right to previous day value area high. Rejected, and moved all the way back to previous day value area low. Cleaned the bad low, came back and retested, and held. Reclaimed, and at that point in time, it was previous day point of control. And you see how the developing price action, it was rejecting. It was resistance. We can even see that that's where VWAP was. Moving it to the low. Reclaim previous day value area low after closing outside. Move quickly to the highs. It actually did a full rotation, an 80% play. Even it was a session value rotation in really like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. It was in 1 30-minute candle. And then just kept on going afterwards. You see what happened to VWAP as that was playing out. It stretches the profile as price moves up, just like what we saw before, and then we had distribution way up here. From up here, kind of like what I did with ETH. So we got the arrival. We have our range. Look at those borders. Yeah, Fernandez, it was a brutal full rotation. Oh, double clap, y'all. Okay, so when we came up here, established that new range, point of control, support, value area high, resistance, and that's just in our fixed range profile on a 5-minute chart. There's your anchor VWAP. I have like a bunch of them on here now. Above VWAP, rejecting from, well, we closed our day above that little point of control, and we definitely close our day with a strong profile. And that was just barely above the daily point of control. Pretty cool. We got some shapes forming here. We got fibs in play. We got some confluence. We definitely have some fibs in play. Shout out Cage. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Any last questions?
I was gonna say, how do you fit all this knowledge in your brain, Mandalo?
Dude, I don't even think that it is. What's up, Cage? Thank you for sticking around for so long. I just like ate up your whole show
Oh no,
time.
you didn't. You're good, man. It was a pleasure. It was actually enjoyment. It was awesome listening to you. There was great
Thanks,
information
bro.
out there, Lions. I hope everybody's paying attention. You're gonna need it.
It's useful. I mean, I find it useful anyways. And I didn't even I was just kind of going through how the chat kind of led me. Not even based on the plan strictly that I was going for today, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Mandela, the best use case for your volume profiles is when we deviate from the value range, right? And accumulate outside of value and then dip our toes back in. What do you think about those?
I like them.
I like them a lot.
I like them. I like closes outside of value as well.
You know, a little bit of confirmation.
Yeah.
No, really
Yeah,
though,
those
these
are the
POCs are very strong. You're absolutely right.
Yep, and if you didn't really catch this, and somebody I think asked about extending naked point of control, so that's untested. I have extension of these point of controls. I don't, just kind of keep on rolling with it until we're ready for switching over to Cage's setup. But they extend out until they're tested again in a later session. These are daily sessions that we're seeing here. But that's a previous area of interest of high participation in that session, and it's an area of liquidity. So it's a good place for the market to return and retest or to be defended when it does. And it kind of acts like magnets as price moves closer to them. So how about up here, we had that naked point of control, consolidate, go grab it. And I mean, it had a little bit of a reaction. All right, they're ready for me. So big cheers, much love to y'all, and show your knowledge. Show your knowledge in the game show. I'm excited. Let's get it.
Yeah, let's get it, man. I'm gonna have to start off strong.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Nerdouts, brother.
I
Your
don't know
nerdouts
about
are really
that.
good, man. Trust me.
Thanks, brother. Thank you. It's all thanks to KIMBA and the community, to PSG, and just hard work. So just everybody keep grinding. and much love. Just, you know, keep the dream and keep the hard work up, and you know, you can make amazing things happen. But big
Give
thank
it
you
up
to
for
all of you.
Professor Mandelo, chat. Everybody show some love. Let's go, chat. Mandelo, thank you. Big cheers.
Yep, thank you. Big cheers.
Thank you, man.
Big cheers to all of you, and thank you. Thank you to KIMBA. Thanks to
Let's go.
all the supporters. All right, big cheers.